This is the Conservative Crusader.
Well, welcome back. This is the Conservative Crusader here on the Red Future Radio Network. Joining us today is, I like to put this in especially with the record he has. He's a family man. He is an anti-abortion activist here in the state of Ohio. He is with the group End Abortion Ohio. And he's also a candidate for Ohio State Representative, hopefully challenging Blue 22 Rhino Jeff Luray. Joining us now is Austin Beigel. Austin, welcome to the program. How are you?
Doing well. Hello, GOP Josh. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you hopping on, and I've been meaning to get you on for a while now, but especially with this big news that you just had announced yesterday, it's very cool to finally have you on the program. I gave a short introduction, but introduce yourself a little further. Who are you, and why are you running for state representative?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm a husband, father of three, president of End Abortion Ohio. We try and fight for the personhood rights for the preborn. U.S. Army veteran, and just recently declared that I'm seeking public office as a state representative in Fairfield County, which is, at least today, called District 73. We'll see if that stays. But yeah, I had a passion for constitutional values and conservative principles my whole life, and really just want to be involved in the next generation, that movement that's coming up around the country, and fight for the principles we believe in.
Well, I didn't realize you were a veteran, so thank you for your service. Really quickly here on the End Abortion Ohio thing, you guys are actually fighting to end abortion, right? Because I know there's some groups out there, and we're going to get to that in a little bit of a second. There's some groups out there that aren't really interested in ending abortion. So is End Abortion Ohio, is their goal in their name, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make ourselves not needed anymore. I want to no longer have to be president of End Abortion Ohio, and we're trying to do that for real, like truly end it, abolish it. We believe in the personhood of every human being, and that humanity and personhood are one and the same. And if you ever try and deviate those concepts or divorce them from one another, it always leads to discrimination and ultimately the death. And that's what we see happening in abortion, and especially in Ohio. For far too long, we've tried to regulate this down rather than appealing to our own Constitution, the 14th Amendment, even the 5th Amendment. You can make the case that abortion is unconstitutional. We believe the state legislatures across the country should be making those personhood arguments from the beginning, and always stand on that.
And that's incredibly refreshing to hear. So we're going to get in a minute to the Abolition of Abortion in Ohio Act, which is something we'll get to in a second. But Jeff Luray is your current representative. As of right now, you're challenging him. He's a Blue 22 Rhino, but I think it goes deeper than that for you. What made you decide to challenge him?
Definitely what I've seen from so-called Republicans around the state is that they'll say certain things and then not do the things they say they were going to do. And with Representative Luray, I've had a number of conversations with him this year on the abortion issue and the sanctity of life issue in general. I brought pastors from his county to him to tell him we expect, not just for you to vote on random bills, but to actually lead on this issue, to be a voice for the preborn. Every day in Ohio, 57 babies per day are still being killed in their mother's wombs, and that's only the ones that the state requires the clinics to report. And so we're not just looking for someone who goes along to get along and maybe votes pro-life here and there, but we want real passionate people who believe in the sanctity of life and the personhood rights I spoke of. And definitely wasn't getting that from my current representation. It even went so far as to, with the former issue one in August on the constitutional threshold, Representative Ray was one of 5 Republicans who voted no to not even send that to a vote. And that was after he told me that the reason he didn't want to pursue the Abolition of Abortion in Ohio Act was because he was worried about how that would affect, the issue one and the coming abortion amendment. So he's telling me he's concerned about those things, but then he directly goes out there and votes no. So it's your classic case of saying one thing and doing another. It felt like appeasing and not actually believing in the cause.
I completely agree with you. So about the Abolition of Abortion in Ohio Act, according to the Centennial, who's a great paper, they did a lot of reporting on the Lizzie Marbach situation we covered here on the program. End Abortion Ohio is trying to get that through the State House. According to a statement I saw on social media, the bill will no longer be introduced when you expected it to. Did that have any influence on your decision to run?
I had decided before then. It was certainly confirmation. That journalist that you're talking about, the Republic Sentinel, for sure, they do some great coverage on real conservative issues. And so by then, I had already known I was going to pursue a state representative in this district here, but it certainly was a confirmation that this was the right decision. It was needed. The shocking opposition that bill received from what we would typically think are our allies, uh, it's always upsetting to see that. And it wasn't a complete surprise because I've seen it happen in other states. And I was warned it could very possibly happen in Ohio, and it did. And it just, continued to light that fire inside of me to keep fighting for the principles and standing for what's right, no matter who comes out against it.
I completely agree. And I want to kind of get into, because with Jeff Luray, he's a strong opponent. He has a lot of money, he's got a lot of name recognition. And so I'm a little worried. The Abolition of Abortion in Ohio Act was actually lobbied against by an Ohio Right to Life board member, also from the Republic Centennial, reporting on that. One of my first questions about your candidacy when I heard you were announcing is, are you worried about Ohio Right to Life possibly working against your campaign, working against trying to get you elected? And how are you going to combat their big money, their big name rec, their people behind them?
I'm more worried about the moral stance they take on these type of issues rather than looking at my campaign. I know the grassroots conservatives and those who actually want to end abortion will come behind me and support me. Yeah, there's definitely going to be big money interests that don't want me saying the things I'm going to be saying. Even on the campaign trail, I'm going to be saying the things, and I'll be saying the same things when I do get elected. But yeah, when you look at their endorsements and their platform, I'll just be open and frank about it. The president of Ohio Right to Life signed a letter saying he firmly opposes personhood. And that's a concept that I hold dearly. We're talking personhood for the preborn under the 14th Amendment. He won't go there. And you can find that letter yourself. It's called an open letter to state lawmakers. It was signed on May 12th, 2022. He did not even tell the rest of the staff at Ohio Right to Life he was doing that. And so people had to find out on their own, like, why did we just sign this letter? And it was in opposition to the Abolition of Abortion in Louisiana Act, which I was there in person to help lobby for and was there to see it all play out. So yeah, maybe I will get some opposition from these pro-life organizations that have shown themselves to actually not support the actual end of abortion, that just kind of want to regulate it and tone it down, maybe, in their words.
So before we get to fundraising, because I want to ask you about that as well, it's very important to run a campaign, even on this quote unquote low of a level, although it's not a low office and it's incredibly important. Top 3 issues for Ohio today. You have 3 things you can do in your first term. What are they?
Yeah, definitely lead with the bill I was trying to get filed right now, the Abolition of Abortion in Ohio Act. All of our other constitutional rights, our God-given rights that are protected by the Constitution, they're subject to our right to life. We have to live to have those. So definitely keep pushing forward on this issue. Number 2, really, I'm going with the phrase like bring government back home. And that so many of our representatives today feel unreachable and very unrelatable to the common person,
Absolutely.
the average Ohioan. And so I'm leading with a policy where I'm going to be having office hours in my own house. Like, come over for dinner as my constituent. Once a week, I'm having constituents over from dinner. I'll be having meetings every week at local businesses around me. I don't care about special interests. You look at some of our representatives' records on what type of law bills they introduce, and they're all big interest, big money issues. They're not the actual common person thing. They're not having the conversations with your regular person, hearing their pains, their day-to-day things. They get stuck in these big meetings all day, and that's all they listen to. And then number 3, definitely the taxation is something I'm focusing on. Primarily, I'm looking at the property tax in Ohio. Having a house here in Pickerington, the property tax is unreal high. And a lot of that was caused due to the mishandling of our economy during COVID, and the housing market went crazy and property taxes are crazy. And so it's breaking the backs of people in my county. And I've had a lot of conversations, people saying, I lived in Rhode Island for 20 years and I'm paying more property tax in Ohio, in a super majority red state. Like, what's going on? So definitely having those conversations too.
Really quickly here, this is probably a yes or no. What are your thoughts on the income tax in Ohio, and should we abolish it?
Yes, absolutely want to see that completely phased out as soon as possible. Having conversations with a few different PACs and people pushing for that as well in the Ohio legislature currently, and absolutely going to support them on that.
Great to hear that. So, something that's not asked a lot in these sort of interviews and these sort of conversations is an ability to fundraise. You have to have a fundraising operation that can, and I'm kind of vetting you because I want to support your campaign. I'm a big fan of your work. So I'm vetting you as a potential supporter here. Do you have the resources to challenge an incumbent and challenge the special interests, challenge the Chamber of Commerce, challenge all those people that might be working for your opponent?
I do, yeah. My day job, I work for a marketing agency. I can do all my digital production. If you saw my announcement video, we have really, really talented people doing storytelling and marketing plans.
Just side
and
note here, really
relationships.
quick. I'm
Go ahead.
going to interrupt a second. I sent that video to one of my friends when you announced, and she said, "There's no reason for you to ask about fundraising. He's doing this video. He's got a lot of money." And I'm like, well, I still want to make sure.
No, look, I'm not personally a super wealthy guy by myself, but there are a lot of people who believe in the causes and the principles that you and I believe in, and they're willing to help and lend their talents. And I think people in the Blue 22 are going to be really surprised when you get like really quality opposition and allies coming out from everywhere to rally around these causes and get them out. And yeah, absolutely. You can go to austinbeigel.com, see everything I believe. I'm an open book. If you go to my issues page, I lay out everything I believe about everything. And whether you agree or disagree, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to talk about how we can change the county and move forward together.
Absolutely, and I'm glad to hear your answer. I'm glad that you have a marketing firm behind you because a lot of these candidates come from the grassroots, come from activism, and I know you're obviously doing more than that. But that's just kind of what I see, and they are doing videos on their iPhone, which is great until you're trying to put that in front of a TV audience or you're trying to actually put that on digital ads, and then it's not so as well received. Your announcement video was great. And at this point, I'd like to say you've kind of won me over. Not going to endorse you yet. We'll see if that comes down the line. But you've won me over. I'm glad to have you on sometime again. You already kind of mentioned your website, but where are you on social media? Your Facebook, your X, or formerly Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff. Where can people find you and support your campaign?
Yeah, most of it's just my name, Austin Beigel, spelled AUSTIN BEIGEL, austinbeigel.com. You can find me on all the social media, as you mentioned. Please reach out to me. Email address is ohio@austinbeigel.com. Love to meet you, especially if you're in Fairfield County and District 73. Come talk to me. Let's go to lunch and talk about how we can get this county and district back to the conservative principles we believe in.
So true, and I might be over in that area soon doing an event of some sort. I'll keep you informed on that. Love to have you there as well. Austin
Awesome.
Beigel, thank you for joining me on the program today. I'm so excited for your campaign and so excited to have you back on. And yeah, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you, GOP Josh. I appreciate your boldness.
Well, thank you. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the Conservative Crusader.